This is such a cool filter. I'm enjoying seeing all the different colors that are here. Ooh, I get to share the group. Let me see. Space of possibilities with Rachel. Let's see if I find me. Yes. Cool. All right. Technical stuff, because I don't usually go on Facebook Live like this. Usually I do it through Zoom. Something came up a few days ago. I had a rather curious experience and made me really look at how we create our world, how we function in our world, and how our world reacts to us. It's this dance of limitations or possibilities. It's all up to us. But this was just so interesting. So I was in a conversation with a dear, close friend, and I got to see that every single thing that she had perceived, every single thing that she had said was going on around her, was a direct response to the way she was looking at things. Nothing was working out. Everything was terrible. People were ganging up against her. Things were pain and suffering and all of that. And I came to realize it wasn't really her speaking. From what I saw, it wasn't really her being present or her being there. It was actually a point of view, kind of like wearing glasses or like a filter, much like what we have on here, that colored the way that she saw everything. So it wasn't her being her at the moment, it was her fear talking. And it was really interesting for me because it seemed like everyone else began not interacting to her as a being, to her as a person, to her as the gift that she is in this world. But they began to react to this outer layer, almost like an outer layer of clothing that she had had on her. That was her fears, that was, the stories, that was what I call shit-covered glasses. And through her shit-covered glasses, all she could see was shit. Literally, that was the only thing that she was able to notice. Everything even smelled like shit because, it's so close to the nose when you're wearing glasses of that color. And everything was colored by her perspective that everything was just going to the pits, that everything was terrible, that everything was horrible, that, with this quarantine and not being able to go out and not being able to this, that, or the other, the interactions became based from the perspective of everything was happening to her. And rather than being herself and the expansion and the gift that she is, all that was there was this fear suit walking. It's really, really interesting to me how we pick up a thought and we think that something is so real and true. And if you've listened to me ever in the past, you know that to me, thoughts are just like, passing clouds. They just go. They're just always going. They're flowing past. And to try to make any of them real is not so effective, really. It's like trying to grab onto a cloud and hold it. Good luck with that. But what we do is we churn it in our minds. We create a thought storm, if you will, around us. Like, I don't know, like as that thought is beginning to go away, but we don't want it to go away because we've identified ourselves with that thought. We keep talking about it and bringing it to life and wrapping it around us. And so, for example, this person's shit-covered glasses, it was interesting because all she had to do was just take them off. And then she'd be able to see an entirely different view. Or clean them off. Or just let that thought pass. See, our in Access speak, we don't really get so much into thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They're the lower harmonics of perceiving, knowing, being, which are capacities of an infinite being. What happens when we grab a thought and we try to solidify it and try to pretend that it is a reality, we take that thought and and rub it everywhere, rub it through everything, create this storm of feelings and emotions that keep proving what it is that we've already decided based on whatever thought we're holding on to. And then that becomes the only way that we can see the world. And when we present ourselves to anyone else, when we interact with someone else, we're interacting based on that thought storm, based on that shit storm, based on that not so pleasant way of being, which isn't really us, but it is our, what we've defined as fear, or what we've defined as upset, or whatever it is that we've defined, which isn't truly who we be in this world. So it's really, really interesting for me to see how we take a thought, we take something, and then we blow life into it, and we make it so real, and we create this entire world around us and think that that's reality. What if it's not? What if it's what we've decided that it is? And what if, when we're willing to let go of that decision, when we're willing to see that something else is available beyond those shit-colored glasses, that we could see the humanity in the other person too? Maybe they're going through their own shitstorm, thought storm, whatever it is. And then we can be present with the gift of who that person is, or that situation is, and just be there with really what is. I know this sounds so strange, but it is about being present and not buying the lie of what it looks like on the outside. Currently, interestingly enough, I look like a Rachel, like a woman, in this body, born, in such and such a year to such and such a family, married to such and such a person, having birthed such and such people, lover of hairy pussies, kitty cats, and just animals in general, etc. But that's just one experience of me right now. As an infinite being, I've been and done so many different things. I have access to so many different things. And thinking that I am only this, and only this thought or this moment is real, or this, whatever it is that I'm creating, it passes. Just watch the clouds in the sky around you. Hello, Mr. Flying By Bug. Watch the clouds in the sky around you. Watch how they just move on. Nothing stays still and nothing stays the same. So who are we to try to create a reality based on only this that I see right now? What if we'd be willing to let go of the illusion of what we think is real around us and actually begin to look for the gift that's underneath, and recognize that part of the gift is that there is this movement. Part of the gift is knowing that this too shall pass, just like a cloud can go past in the sky. Okay, maybe there'll be 3 cloudy days, 10 cloudy days, but eventually they move too. We are not those clouds. We are not those thoughts. And so rather than building up all this emotion and all this experience and all this stress based on a thought that's just a random thought that's going by, and according to most of my friends, 99,000% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't even belong to you. Hi. And if your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't belong to you, and you spend so much of your time creating everything in your experience from thoughts, feelings, and emotions that don't even belong to you, how are you creating your world? So what is it that you'd like to create that's different? What is it that you know that could be possible? And if it didn't look the way you think it looks, and if you weren't as alone as you think you were, and if the things weren't working the way you've previously decided, what else could be available there? And I love, Simone asked a question in a Facebook Live on her amazing group of, I think 7 days for $10 or something like that. That was just so much fun. But the question was, what energy, what space, what consciousness, what choice, what magic, what miracle, what mystery, and what possibility are you that can relax? Are you and your body, actually? Let's include the body, because our bodies are just so amazing. That could relax and receive the infinite possibilities, and I'll add the infinite contribution that's all around you. See, when we don't see ourselves as so alone and so apart and so suffering the slings and arrows of other people's points of view, those are their points of view. We don't know what shitstorm they may be going through. But if we could recognize the grandness, the beauty, the phenomenons of the being that we be, and if, it's not always easy, and there's some, days that are brighter than others and others that perhaps are less so. But what if we could just recognize that any crap feeling, this too shall pass, and that crap feeling is just shit-covered lenses. They're not who you be. They're not who you be. The world doesn't happen to you. The world responds to what you've chosen. And so if you're willing to see and to be the gift of you walking in the world, then the world can begin to interact with you that way. But if you look out at the world as an enemy, if you look out at the world as if it's happening to you and it's all bad and terrible and horrible and no good, what reality are you creating with that? Now, I know the person who I had experience with will probably be watching this video later, so I didn't mention any names, but I wanted for her to get it as well. That moment is just a moment. It passes by. You're not limited or defined by it in any way, shape, or form, unless you hold on to it and make it real and true and bigger than you. What if there is nothing bigger than you? What if there's nothing outside of you that can weigh you down or can push you around or can, shrink your world unless you allow that? So what if you take off those shit-colored or those, shrinking ray kind of glasses that you may be wearing? And even if your vision may be blurry, like mine is when I take my glasses off, how many more possibilities can you see when you look from a different perspective? When you entertain a different point of view? What else is available? What else could be possible? And what else could be invited into being when you don't have to keep rehashing all those old stories of the past? Now, I've been playing with people and gifting symphony sessions. I had said that I would do it for 7 days, and I've, except for Saturday, I was doing them, and tomorrow's my last scheduled day for a little while. But it's so cool to hear what people speak about in the sessions. And one of the greatest things is not recognizing or acknowledging the space and the gift that they are. And maybe I've read too many things that are metaphysical or whatever, not just metaphysical, but just kind of woo-woo, airy-fairy, whatever out there. But it's so interesting for me. One of the tools we call the crazy phrase in Access Consciousness is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. And nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So yeah, I can look at this cup and look at it as a holder of something. I can, look at myself and say, this is me and this is all I am. This is real. This is true. This is reality. I'm being very realistic here. But what if that's not all that's there? What if beneath all that form, all that structure, all that significance, all the histories, all the experiences, all the pains of teenagerhood and whatever else, we've carried with us through the years, what if it's just one of the many things that we've come here and chosen to experience, but it's not the totality of us? What if the totality of us is so much more expanded and is so much more magical and is so much more amazing? And what if we'd allow ourselves to tap into that, to honor that, to be that, to play with that, to expand that in the world? What possibility walking could we be when we just begin to play? when we don't take ourselves so seriously, but recognize that we can be a contribution if we're willing to play. What else is possible beyond all the thoughts, most of which aren't even ours? Clouds in the sky, or actually the big blue sky, all those thoughts that are going past, they're just thoughts. It's just a thought. And those thoughts, when we give them a lot of energy, when we try to hold on to them, they feel like our world, contract us, because they're not ours. We're light. We're actually the lightness of being, if you'd like to call it that. And the more we choose to be lightness, and the more we're willing to just let go, just set aside whatever it is that's dense, whatever it is that doesn't smell so good, whatever it is that colors our world in a way that we don't like, the more space we have for being us and for being the gift that we be in the world, however way that shows up. And there's definitely no right way or wrong way to be it or do it or anything else. What works for you today? What energy, what space, what consciousness, what choice to be the contribution, what magic, miracles, and possibilities could you be and open in the world just by your very willingness to not make it all real? If everything is the opposite of what it appears to be and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, what space is there between those fabrics of reality? What space of possibilities exists there? And if we'd be willing to notice that it's there, it would melt all of the resistance, all of the rejection, and all of the refusal that we have in be with others and in the world. What if all those situations outside of us don't have any more relevance to us than a smile or a joy or anything else? What if we can choose in any moment? Are we going to make this thing bigger than us? Or do we recognize that we be the space that can change everything? We don't have to be the effect of the world unless we make it so, choose it so. And it's not from a space of, I'm going to be fighting against people, like my friend. And that everything had to be, everyone was against her and she had to fight for everything or then just give up on the world and step away. No, it's not that. It's not even having to deal with it. It's knowing that that doesn't vibe with you. That doesn't go with you. You know what? I'm not choosing to go there. What can I add to my life that will bring more lightness, more joy, more wonder and fun at any moment? And have that. Rather than trying to fix anybody and everybody else, what can you add to your own life that will delight you, light up your world? And the more you're willing to be happy, the more you're willing to choose that lightness of being, the more everybody else begins to recognize that there's a possibility there, that you function in a different way in the world. Something can be different. And before you go and, fight with someone or get mad at the way that they're being, what if you look beyond what they're doing or what they're saying and recognize that it may not be them being and saying it, but that shit suit that they've put on. It's the only way that they see that they can function. It may be their frustration talking, their fear talking, their whatever talking. And fear isn't true. It's a distraction from being. But a lot of us buy it as real. What if we could look beyond that to see the vulnerability and have gratitude for that person and whatever it is they may be going through? We don't have to fix them. Just have allowance for them to be who they be. And to recognize that if we don't solidify it, if we don't react to anything, if we don't make it true and butt heads, everything, if it's another person or a situation around us, begins to shift and change. As nothing can withstand this space and the energy and the possibility that we can open up. Have you ever walked through customs being space? It's an entirely different experience than someone who contracts themselves, and then there's these check here signs over their head. I know that's silly, just going through customs, but just, remembering of times of travel, pre-corona, schmarona. It's kind of funny. We could make the world outside of us bigger than us. Or we could recognize that this entire reality is just a tiny, tiny little thing. And it does not have to be any bigger than us. The more expanded we be, the more we recognize our grandness, the more we recognize that just asking a question, what energy, what space, what consciousness can I be that will change this? That will contribute something here. Changes it. When we're willing to be an allowance for a situation, for ourselves, for someone else, they're not obligated to keep fighting. And the situation doesn't stay the same. Everything can begin to shift and change because we're willing to be space around it. So we could get mad when we see somebody that we care about seeing the world through shit-colored glasses. We could be mad that they think the entire world is against them. We could be mad that they're mad at everything. Or we could notice it's not really them talking. It's those shit-colored glasses that they're wearing. Shit-smeared, actually. It's not even colored. It's so that you get the full effect of the scent of the shit, too. It's not them talking. It's that filter of shit that they've bought as real. And we could resist and react. Or we could be a space that will allow something else to show up in the world. If our point of view truly creates our reality, are we going to choose a reality of more resisting, more fighting, more proving the rightness of our tools and of the way people should live? Or could we be the space of something else showing up, just the way we be? No fighting necessary. What possibilities are you aware of, and only you can choose, that you could bring to the world? What invitation are you that you've never ever noticed? And what else is possible that we've never thought is possible? That if we would just open the doorway, just a tiny little crack, and entertain those possibilities, can actually melt all of this resistance, all of this reality as we know it, and open up a space of possibilities for intimacy, for gratitude, for presence, for choice, for joy. What else is possible we've never considered?